Failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. Too many people think success is a straight line, that you just wake up one day, work hard, and everything falls into place. But that's not reality. Reality is messy. Reality is full of obstacles. Reality will knock you down over and over again. And if you can't handle failure, if you don't learn how to get back up, you'll never reach your full potential. Think about it. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has failed more times than they can count. Steve Jobs got fired from the company he built. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. Walt Disney was rejected over and over again because people thought he lacked creativity. If they had let failure stop them, we wouldn't even know their names today. But they didn't let it stop them. They let it fuel them. They let it teach them. They let it push them to be better. And that's what you need to do. Stop letting failure make you doubt yourself. Stop letting one mistake shake your confidence. Every time you fail, you're learning something. Every time you fall, you're getting stronger. The key is to keep going. The key is to use failure to your advantage instead of letting it hold you back. But here's the thing. Most people won't do that. Most people give up the second things get tough. They quit as soon as they feel discomfort. They stop trying when they don't see immediate results. And that's why they stay stuck. That's why they never reach their goals. Because they don't understand that failure is not final. Failure is feedback. You have to start thinking differently. When you fail, don't say, I'm not good enough. Say, what can I learn from this? Don't say, I should quit. Say, how can I adjust? The way you talk to yourself after failure determines whether you stay down or get back up. And the people who succeed, they get back up every single time. You have to stop being afraid to fail. Fear of failure is worse than failure itself because fear paralyzes you. Fear keeps you stuck in the same place. Fear makes you overthink, makes you hesitate, makes you play it safe. And playing it safe will never get you to where you want to be. You have to take risks. You have to be willing to mess up, to fall flat on your face, to look foolish, because that's the only way to grow. And listen, failing doesn't mean you're a failure. Failing means you're trying. It means you're pushing yourself beyond your limits. It means you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. And that's the only way to improve. That's the only way to become better than you were yesterday. Think about a baby learning how to walk. Do they get it right the first time? They fall, they struggle, they wobble and trip and fail 100 times before they take their first step. But you know what they don't do? They don't quit. They don't say, walking isn't for me. They don't decide, maybe I'm just not meant to do this. No. They keep going, they keep trying, and eventually they succeed. That's the mindset you need to have. Every failure is just another step closer to success. Every mistake is just another lesson. Every setback is just setting you up for a bigger comeback. The only way to truly fail is to quit. So stop hesitating, stop doubting, stop holding yourself back. Take action, make mistakes, learn from them, and most importantly, keep moving forward. Because as long as you refuse to quit, as long as you're willing to grow, success is only a matter of time. Too many people see failure as a sign to stop. They think if they fail once, it means they're not meant to do it. But let me tell you something, failure is not a stop sign, it's a speed bump. It's there to slow you down, make you think, make you adjust, but it's never meant to stop you completely. The only way failure defeats you is if you let it, if you allow it to shake your confidence, to make you doubt your purpose, to make you quit. Look at the greatest athletes, the best entrepreneurs, the most successful people in history. They have something in common. They all failed a lot before they won. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He could have quit right then. He could have said, maybe basketball isn't for me. But instead, he used it. He let that failure fuel him, let it push him, let it make him work harder than ever before. And the rest is history. That's the difference between winners and losers. Losers let failure define them. Winners let failure refine them. They take the lesson, adjust, and come back stronger. You have to learn to do the same. You have to train yourself to see failure as just part of the process. Because the truth is, if you're failing, it means you're trying. It means you're in the game. The only people who never fail are the ones who never try in the first place. But here's the problem. Too many of you are afraid of looking bad. You're afraid of failing in front of others, of hearing people talk about you, of dealing with embarrassment. But let me ask you this. Would you rather be the person who tried and failed or the person who never tried at all? Because one of those people is learning, growing, improving. The other, they're just standing still, watching life pass them by. Success is built on failure. You can't separate the two. Every single win is made up of 100 little losses that came before it. Every victory is stacked on top of countless mistakes, lessons, and setbacks. You don't get to success without first going through failure. That's just how it works. And the truth is, failure only hurts if you don't learn from it. If you fall and never take the time to ask, what went wrong or how can I do better next time? Then yeah, failure will feel like a loss. But if you analyze it, if you break it down and extract the lesson from it, failure becomes an asset. It becomes one more tool in your arsenal. Let me give you a challenge. Start seeing failure differently. Stop looking at it like something negative and start treating it like a teacher. When you mess up, don't get emotional about it. Get analytical. Ask yourself, what did this teach me? How can I use this next time? Because once you start treating failure as data instead of drama, your whole mindset changes. You stop fearing it. You start using it. Too many of you are sitting on your dreams because you're afraid of failing. You're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect set of circumstances. But guess what? There is no perfect moment. You have to take action now. You have to be willing to fail now. You have to be willing to mess up, to make mistakes, to look foolish, because that's how you learn. That's how you grow. Failure is the tuition you pay for success. It's the price of admission. You don't get to the top without first stumbling at the bottom. The difference between those who win and those who lose, the ones who win don't quit when they fail. They don't let failure shake them. They don't let it slow them down. They see it, they learn from it, and they keep moving. So if you failed before, good. That means you're in the game. That means you're taking action. But now it's time to use that failure. It's time to learn from it, to let it sharpen you, to let it make you better, because failure is not the enemy. Fear of failure is. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you'll start making real progress. Most people fear failure because they believe it's the end of the road. They think that if they fall short, that means they weren't good enough, they weren't smart enough, or they weren't capable enough. But that's not the truth. Failure is never the end. It's just a test. It's life's way of asking you, how bad do you really want this? Because if you want something bad enough, you won't let one setback define you. You won't let one obstacle stop you. You'll get up, learn from it, and keep moving forward. The problem is, too many people take failure personally. They see it as a reflection of their worth instead of as a stepping stone to their success. But listen to me, failure is not a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of where you are. It's simply a checkpoint on your journey. It's a lesson, not a life sentence. But the people who stay stuck, they're the ones who give failure too much power. They take one no and turn it into a lifetime of doubt. They take one mistake and let it convince them they should quit. But champions, they don't see failure the same way. They see failure as a teacher. Every mistake teaches them something new. Every loss makes them stronger. Every setback is just another rep, another repetition that builds their endurance. Failure is like going to the gym for your mindset. It breaks you down just so you can rebuild stronger. And just like in the gym, the more weight you lift, the stronger you become. So stop running from failure and start embracing it. Think about some of the most successful people in the world. They didn't get to where they are because they avoided failure. They got there because they kept going through failure. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for TV. Walt Disney was fired for not being creative enough. Steve Jobs was kicked out of the company he built. Imagine if they had let failure define them. Imagine if they had accepted that rejection as the final answer. The world would have been robbed of their greatness. And the same goes for you. If you quit now, the world will never get to see what you're capable of. Every time you fail, you have two choices. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. You can sit in self-pity, telling yourself you're not good enough, or you can take that failure, analyze it, and come back better. It's not about how many times you fail, it's about how many times you're willing to get back up, because success is just failure stacked up with one more attempt added to it. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or intelligence. They fail because they lack grit. They lack the ability to keep pushing when things get tough. They let self-doubt win. But real success belongs to those who can push past that doubt, to those who can silence that voice in their head that says, what if I fail again? And replace it with, what if I succeed this time? Failure is not a signal to stop. It's a sign that you're growing. It's proof that you're trying. The only people who never fail are the ones who never try in the first place. And that's the biggest failure of all, choosing to stay stuck because you're afraid of falling. You need to start expecting failure. You need to start seeing it as part of the journey instead of a roadblock. The sooner you make peace with failure, the sooner you'll start making real progress. Because the people who win in life, they're the ones who aren't afraid to fail. They're the ones who keep swinging, keep showing up, and keep believing even when things don't go their way. So let today be the day you stop fearing failure. Let today be the day you embrace it, learn from it, and use it as fuel. Because every time you fall and get back up, you're proving to yourself that you have what it takes. And that's the real key to success. Not avoiding failure, but rising stronger every single time. Failure is not the final chapter. It's just one page in your story. Too many people let failure define them instead of refine them. They take one loss, one rejection, one moment of struggle, and they turn it into a lifetime of regret. But failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. The difference between people who win and people who stay stuck is simple. Winners don't stop at failure. They use it as fuel. They take every setback and turn it into a stepping stone. Look at any successful person in any field. Athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, speakers. Every single one of them has a history of failure. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team. Imagine if he let that stop him. Imagine if he accepted that failure as his fate. There would be no championships, no legacy, no inspiration for millions. But instead of quitting, he let failure ignite a fire in him. He practiced harder, trained longer, and came back stronger. And that's why he became one of the greatest of all time. Now look at your own life. How many times have you let failure hold you back? How many times have you stopped because things got too hard, because you got rejected, because it didn't work out the way you expected? It's time to change that mindset. It's time to stop seeing failure as a dead end and start seeing it as a detour. Because failure is not telling you to quit. It's telling you to adjust. It's telling you to level up. Most people let failure kill their dreams because they take it personally. They think, maybe I'm just not good enough, or maybe I'm not meant for this. But listen, failure is not proof that you're not good enough. It's proof that you're in the process of becoming great. If you're failing, it means you're trying. It means you're in motion. And that alone puts you ahead of most people, because most people never even take the first step. What separates champions from the rest? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's their ability to keep going when everyone else quits. It's their ability to get knocked down 10 times and get up 11. If you want to win, you have to develop that same resilience. You have to train yourself to see failure as feedback, not as failure. Every mistake is a lesson. Every rejection is redirection. Every fall is an opportunity to rise higher than before. Think about a boxer in the ring. They don't walk in expecting to never get hit. They know they're going to take punches. They expect it, but they don't let it stop them. They learn how to take the hits and keep moving forward. They learn how to adjust, how to dodge, how to strike back. And that's exactly how you have to approach life. You're going to get hit. You're going to face obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But your job is not to avoid failure. It's to get strong enough to handle it. You don't need to be perfect to succeed. You just need to be persistent. You just need to be willing to get back up every single time life knocks you down. Because the truth is, failure is temporary, but quitting, that's permanent. If you stop now, you'll never know how close you were to your breakthrough. You might be one more attempt away from success, and you won't even know it if you give up. So make a decision today. Decide that failure will not define you. Decide that you will not let setbacks break you. Decide that no matter how many times you fall, you will always rise. Because the people who make it in this world, the people who reach their goals, the people who create a legacy, they are not the ones who never failed. They are the ones who refuse to stay down. Failure is not the enemy. It's the training ground. It's where you sharpen your skills, test your endurance, and prove how bad you really want it. Every setback is a setup for a comeback, but too many people stop before they even get to the comeback. They take one hit and decide it's over. They try once or twice, fail, and convince themselves they're not good enough. But here's the truth. Failure is not proof that you can't do something. Failure is proof that you're in the process of learning how to do it right. Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall again and again, but do they stop trying? Because they don't know what quitting is. They don't understand failure in the way adults do. They don't get embarrassed. They don't tell themselves they'll never walk just because they fell a few times. They just get up and keep going. And that's why they succeed. That's why eventually every single one of them walks. Somewhere along the way, though, we stop thinking like that. We fail at something and suddenly we take it personally. We let it define us. We tell ourselves, maybe this isn't for me. But what if that baby thought the same way? What if after a few falls they just gave up? They never would have learned to walk. And if you stop now, you'll never reach your full potential. Failure is a signal, not a stop sign. It's telling you try again, but do it differently. It's teaching you what doesn't work so you can figure out what does. Some of the most brilliant minds in history failed more times than most people even attempt. Thomas Edison made 10,000 unsuccessful attempts at creating the light bulb. When asked how it felt to fail 10,000 times, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset you need. You're not failing, you're figuring it out. You're not losing, you're learning. Every mistake is a lesson, every rejection is redirection, and every setback is setting you up for something greater. But you have to be willing to keep going. That's the part most people don't want to hear. They want success without struggle, rewards without risks, growth without pain, but that's not reality. The reality is success is built on failure. It's built on late nights, early mornings, and the moments when nobody believes in you but you. It's built on pushing forward even when you don't see results, even when doubt creeps in, even when it feels like nothing is working, because eventually something will. Eventually all those failures will add up to a win. You have to start seeing failure as proof that you're in the game. You're taking chances. You're growing. The only people who never fail are the ones who never try. And that's real failure, never even giving yourself the chance. If you fail today, that means you showed up. It means you took action. And that alone puts you ahead of the people who are still sitting on the sidelines, too afraid to even start. Success is about who can outlast the struggle. It's about who's willing to keep moving when nothing seems to be going right. It's about having the resilience to take hit after hit and still get back up. The world will try to knock you down. Life will throw obstacles in your way. You will face rejection, disappointment, and failure over and over again. But if you refuse to quit, you will win. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but if you stay in the game, your time will come. So stop seeing failure as the end. Start seeing it as part of the process. Start using it to fuel you. Start embracing it as the thing that's shaping you into the person you need to be to handle success when it comes. Because if you can push through failure, there's nothing in this world that can stop you. Failure is only final if you let it be. Too many people quit too soon because they think failure is a dead end when it's really just a detour. You have to rewire your mind to see failure not as a loss, but as data, as feedback. Every time you fail, you're collecting valuable information. Information that tells you what doesn't work, what needs to be adjusted, and what you need to improve. The problem is, most people take failure personally. They see it as a reflection of their worth instead of what it really is, a lesson. Failure is neutral. It doesn't care who you are or what your goals are. It's just a natural part of the process, but how you respond to it is what makes the difference. The most successful people in the world are masters of failure. They fail more times than most people even try. The difference is they keep pushing forward while others stop. They understand that failure isn't something to be feared. It's something to be used. Every failed attempt gets them one step closer to success because they refuse to quit. They take the lessons, adjust their strategy, and go again. That's the winning formula. But too many people want to succeed without experiencing the pain, without making mistakes. That's not how it works. You can't have success without failure. You can't build resilience without resistance. Look at athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, and inventors. Every single one of them has faced failure. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Walt Disney was fired from his job because his boss said he lacked creativity. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. Steve Jobs got kicked out of the very company he started. But what happened? They didn't stop. They took those failures and turned them into fuel. They used rejection, setbacks, and disappointments to push harder, to get better, to prove the world wrong. They turned failure into motivation. That's what separates them from the rest. But here's the part people don't talk about. Failure hurts, it's frustrating, it's humiliating, it makes you doubt yourself. There are days when you'll question if you're even capable, if you're wasting your time, if you should just give up. And this is the moment where most people quit. Not because they aren't talented, not because they aren't capable, but because they let failure break them instead of build them. They don't see failure as part of the process. They see it as proof that they should stop. And that's the biggest mistake they make. Because the truth is, if you push through that pain, if you refuse to back down, if you keep taking steps even when you don't feel like it, you will come out stronger, you will come out wiser, and eventually you will come out successful. Every time you fail, you have two choices: use it or lose it. You can either let that failure define you, keep you stuck, make you bitter, or you can let it shape you, sharpen you, make you better. The choice is yours. But know this, every single time you get back up, you are proving to yourself that failure has no power over you. You are proving that you are bigger than your setbacks, that your goals are stronger than your excuses, and that no obstacle can keep you from what's meant for you. It's time to stop fearing failure and start embracing it. It's time to stop letting setbacks make you weak and start using them to make you powerful. Because the people who win in life aren't the ones who avoid failure, they're the ones who conquer it. They're the ones who keep swinging, who keep showing up, who refuse to let a bad day, a bad break, or a bad season define their future. And if you adopt that mindset, if you make the decision right now that failure will never be the thing that stops you, then there is absolutely nothing in this world that can hold you back. Failure is a word that scares most people. It's the thing they avoid at all costs, the thing they see as the end, as proof that they're not good enough. But that's not how winners think. That's not how the greats operate. Failure, it's not a wall stopping you. It's a stepping stone, a launch pad, a test to see how bad you want it. Every setback, every loss, every moment where you feel like quitting is just a moment of preparation. It's shaping you, sharpening you, getting you ready for the next level. But most people don't see it that way. They fail once and they think that's the end. They fail twice and they give up. They let that failure define them instead of letting it refine them. The truth is, nobody who has ever accomplished something great did it without failing first. Go look at the most successful people in the world. Every single one of them has a story about how they failed first. They got knocked down, rejected, humiliated, and written off. But the difference? They didn't let it break them. They took that failure and used it. They analyzed it, learned from it, and came back stronger. Because failure isn't a full stop. It's a comma. It's a pause in your journey, a checkpoint that asks, how bad do you really want it? And if you're serious, if you're hungry, you won't let failure stop you. You'll use it as fuel. Most people are too focused on their losses. They replay their failures over and over again like a highlight reel of defeat. They let that one rejection, that one mistake, that one bad decision define their whole future. But listen to me, you are not your failures. Your failures are lessons, not labels. They do not define you unless you let them. What defines you is how you respond. Do you sit there feeling sorry for yourself? Do you let that one loss turn into a lifetime of regret? Or do you get back up and say, all right, I learned. Now let's go again. Because that's the mindset that wins. People who succeed don't have some magical ability. They're not special. They're just the ones who refuse to stay down. Every time they fail, they get up one more time. Every time they lose, they go back to the drawing board, fix their mistakes, and try again. And over time, that relentlessness turns failure into progress. That persistence turns obstacles into opportunities. And that mindset turns underdogs into champions. Because the truth is, every failure you experience is just a part of the process. It's just another brick on the road to success. But you have to keep walking. The problem is, most people want success without struggle. They want victory without battle. They want the rewards, but they don't want to pay the price. But let me tell you something. The price of success is failure. You don't get to the top without first hitting the bottom. You don't reach your goals without first stumbling along the way. It's the struggle that makes you stronger. It's the losses that teach you how to win. And if you embrace that, if you understand that every setback is just setting you up for a comeback, nothing can stop you, because failure isn't the end. It's the beginning of your next breakthrough.